Dear students, once again welcome back to this eShikshana program with respect to your course data mining and data warehousing. In today's class we will be discussing about decision tree induction, which is associated with your module 4, that is classification. In your previous class we have discussed the basic introductory details with respect to your classification, the definition of classification, how to evaluate the classifier after the classification model is built using your training, validation and testing data set. And once your model is constructed, we evaluate the performance using the two-way contingency table or your confusion matrix. We find the accuracy before classification and after classification. We have seen the general properties of a classifier. So in continuation to that, in today's topic we will discuss about one of the classification method available, which is your decision tree induction. Now this decision tree induction, the name itself indicates the process of induction which is used to design a classifier model. So I'm designing a classification model by using the process of induction with respect to decision tree modeling. Now you all know obviously a tree is nothing but a graphical representation which will have some vertices and edges. So the same concept is replicated for your decision tree, wherein the decision tree has three types of nodes. The first one is the root node, the second one is the internal node, the third one is the leaf or terminal nodes. Now what is this root node? It's a node with no incoming links and 0 or more outgoing links. Now if you look at the properties of graph, when we start defining a node, right, it will have the properties of in degree and out degree. That means number of edges coming towards a node is in degree and number of edges leaving out a node is out degree. So that property is used to define a root node, internal node and a leaf node. So basically a root node is a node which has 0 as its in degree and the out degree will be equal to 0 or more. Similarly, internal nodes, the in degree will be exactly 1, that means it will have one link, on 2 or more outgoing links, that means the out degree will be 2 or more. Similarly, again a leaf or non-terminal node, each of which has exactly one incoming link, that means the terminal node or the leaf node, the last node, will have in degree as 1 and out degree as 0, that means no outgoing links. So I use the concept of in degree and out degree of a node to define root node, internal node and a terminal node of a decision tree. So root node has in degree 0, out degree will be 0 or more, internal node will have in degree as 1 and out degree as 2 or more. At the last, a terminal node will have in degree as 1 and out degree as 0. This decision tree to define root node, internal node and terminal node will make use of an example, and this diagram represents the decision tree for mammal classification problem. If you can recall the very first video lecture with respect to your module 4, we have taken a data set for vertebrate mammal classification. So this decision tree is prepared for the same data set, wherein I have body temperature as the root node and we have defined the in degree for root node is 0. Yes, there are no links, it is 0. Out degree is 0 or more, so I have two edges flowing out of it, so out degree is 0 or more, obviously yes, in degree is 0, so body temperature will become a root node. What is internal node? In degree is 1, yes, it has one edge flowing towards it, and out degree is 2 or more. I have two edges here, yes, obviously this becomes internal node. And at the end I have non-mammal as the leaf node, wherein in degree is 1, obviously yes, in degree is 1, but out degree is 0, that means no edges are flowing out of this node, that means it's a leaf node. So basically the definitions of root, internal node and the terminal nodes are depicted using this decision tree for mammal classification problem. So if you know what is the in degree, out degree of a node, then you can easily classify a root node, internal node and leaf node. 0 in degree, 0 or more out degree, it is a root node. In degree equal to 1, out degree equal to 2 or more, then it becomes an internal node, example gives birth. And a node having 1 as in degree and 0 as out degree becomes a leaf node. This is the basic representation of a decision tree. Next we will see one of the basic algorithm to represent a decision tree, which is nothing but the Hunt's algorithm, based on the name of a scientist who gave this algorithm. In Hunt's algorithm, a decision tree is grown in a recursive fashion. That means it is repeated n number of times by partitioning the training records into successively purer subsets. That means your training data set, if there are n number of instances, those n number of instances will be partitioned based on the size with respect to its purer subsets. What do you mean by purer or impurer subsets? It is nothing but the amount of information that a node will hold. If it is holding more information, it is a purer node. Less information, it's an impure node. How to calculate purity or impurity of a given node? We have some approaches that we'll see in the later slides. So fine, a decision tree is grown in a recursive fashion by partitioning the training records into successively purer subsets. Now let dt be the notation used to represent the set of training records associated with the node t. That means all the instances in your training data set with respect to transaction t will be denoted by the term dt. And what will be y? It will be the class label or the target function. We saw, right, in the example we had 10 instances had some class labels. So for all those instances associated with dt, y1, y2 up to yc will represent the class labels, and the two steps are there for your Hunt's algorithm that has to be recursively applied. What are those steps? We'll see one by one. Now the very first step. So what is that first step? If all the records in dt belong to the same class yt, then t is a leaf node labeled as yt. I read the sentence once again. With respect to step 1, if all the records in dt belong to the same class yt, that means you have 10 instances and they belong to the same class. If you look at the example that we have seen with respect to 3 attributes and 10 instances, there were 7 instances with no, 3 instances with yes. But what is the sentence saying? If all the records in dt belong to the same class. So if all the 10 instances either belong to the target function yes, or if all the 10 instances belong to the target function no, then t will be your leaf node and it is labeled as yt. That means the leaf node itself will be yes, or the leaf node itself will be no. But unfortunately, if you look at any data set, because of the class imbalance problem, there will be either more number of positive instances or less number of negative instances, or equal number of positive and negative instances. It is very rare that you will find all the instances having the same class label as yes or no. So first step is very rarely applicable. We'll go to the second step. What is the second step? If dt contains record that belong to more than one class, yes, obviously my target function will have yes or no values, pass or fail values, or in a simple sense with respect to your first step, right, if I take the class result of a given section or a given branch, it is very rare that all the students will pass, right? The result will be declared as pass. So I'll have some students result as pass, some student result as fail. If everyone passes, the leaf node itself will be declared as pass, or the leaf node, if all the students fail, the leaf node will be declared as fail, which is very rare. So we'll go for the second step. And what is the second step saying? If dt contains records that belong to more than one class, that means it will have pass as well as fail, then an attribute test condition is selected to partition the record into smaller subsets. That's what we have said. We are supposed to partition the records. How to partition? I am supposed to select a test attribute condition. How to select it? We'll see. A child node is created from each outcome of the test attribute condition. So if there is no leaf node possible, I have to split. That's what I call it as test attribute condition, and that the records in dt are distributed to the children based on the outcomes. This algorithm is then recursively applied to each child. So basically saying, if all the instances in your training data set have the same class label, then that will be your leaf node, which is not possible. It's a rare situation. Then I'm supposed to select a node, I'm supposed to split it. That splitting criteria is nothing but a test attribute condition. What are the methods available for selecting a test attribute condition? We'll see in the further slides. So next we'll see how to apply the Hunt's algorithm for given training data set. So where the first step says if all the records in DT belong to the same class. There are 10 records. Do they belong to the same class? No. There are 3 instances with yes, 7 instances with no. So obviously step 1 is not applicable. I am supposed to select a test attribute condition to split. Now which is the first attribute? It is the refund attribute. I'll take that condition. Fine. Whether he will cheat or not is my target function. So which is the first attribute? Refund. So refund is taking 2 values, yes or no. Obviously yes or no. So if you look at this data set, refund is taking 2 values. Refund is yes, he will not cheat. If refund is no, if he is not going to reach, then obviously he is going to cheat. Fine. So it's a mistake here. I have written it as don't cheat. It is actually cheat. So once he doesn't cheat, I am supposed to split it. In the next step, what will I do? I'll take refund again. Since I am not sure whether he will cheat with respect to refund now, so the second scenario is that is not going to cheat. So I'll take the second attribute, marital status, then I'll take marital status. Then there are 3 different possible values, single, married and divorced. I am taking the binary split of single, divorced and married here. Again, I am not sure, refund is no, marital status is don't cheat. Then I have to look at my target function and again I will split this node. So that is what I have done. If he is not going to cheat, then fine. If he is going to cheat, I am supposed to split this. Now actually if you look at the explanation as well as the diagram that I have given, it looks a bit confusing. Which node to choose to split? Fine, that's what I said. Which node to split will be decided on the attribute test condition. Any node which is purer, I was talking about partitioning the training records into successively purer subsets. Any node when I partition will be purer, that attribute will be taken to split. Here I am taking this node to split, here I am taking marital status to split, here I am taking this node cheat to split the taxable income. How to decide whether to split on this node or whether to split on this node will be decided on the purity of the given node. How to, as I've already said, how to select the purer node and impurer node we will see in the further slides. So as of now, basically your Hunt's algorithm is a 2-stage process. If all the records belong to a same class label, that itself will be the leaf node. If not, I am supposed to split. How to split? We have seen an example. We will mathematically solve. Then I think it will be easy for you to understand. Fine. So Hunt's algorithm will work only if every combination of attribute value is present in the training data set and each combination as a unique class label. So you divide the sentence into 2 parts. Fine. Hunt's algorithm will work if every combination of attribute values is present. That means refund yes or no, it is taking 2 values. Cheat also is taking, for yes it is taking no, for no it is taking no, for yes again it might be taking yes. So such type of combinations must exist. Every combination must exist and each combination should have a unique class label. Say for example, if I take yes single and 125k, it is no. This instance should not be repeated. That is what I call it as each combination should have a unique class label. Repeated instances and their respective class labels should not exist. Then your Hunt's algorithm will probably work. And this is very practically not possible because these assumptions are too stringent. There might be instances wherein all the subject marks will be equal, a student will be declared as pass. Fine. Such type of instances are more. So your Hunt's algorithm is not suitable in such cases. So hence we are supposed to handle these 2 cases in case with respect to your step 2. What is that? It is not possible for some child nodes created in step 2 to be empty. That means you will not find leaf nodes. In such cases, what I am supposed to do? In this case, the node is declared as leaf node with the same class label as the majority of the class training records associated with its parent node. That means if there are more combinations of yes, then the leaf node will be yes. If there are more combinations of no, then the leaf node will be no. That's what I'm saying. There are no records associated with these nodes. That is the problem with respect to step 2 while I'm splitting. So in step 2, if all the records associated with DT have identical attribute values except for the class label, then it is not possible to split these records any further. That means that will be itself the leaf node. In this case, the node is declared as leaf node with same class label as the majority of the class training records associated with no. That's what I said. More number of yes, class label will be yes. More number of instances with no, class label will be no. This is your Hunt's algorithm. So what are the two design issues that are supposed to be considered with respect to your Hunt's algorithm or decision tree induction? Your Hunt's algorithm is a generic procedure for growing decision trees in a greedy fashion. To implement the algorithm, there are two key design issues that must be addressed. What are those issues? First thing is, what is the splitting criteria, how to split, and after splitting, when to stop. So we'll see these details. At each recursive step, an attribute must be selected to partition the training instances associated with the node into smaller subsets with its child nodes. So I'm supposed to split a node. When I split, it should be a subset of the parent node. That means the child node should be the subset of the parent node. The splitting criteria determines which attribute is chosen as the test condition and how the training instances should be distributed to the child nodes. That is the first thing. How to split based on the purity or impurity, and once I split the parent node, the child nodes or the subset should be the part of your parent node. That is the first design issue to be considered in your decision tree induction or your Hunt's algorithm. What is the stopping criteria? Stopping criteria is nothing but the termination condition. When to stop? The basic algorithm stops expanding a node only when all the training instances associated with the node having the same class labels or identical attribute values have been considered. That means from my training data set, if there are 10 instances, all the 10 instances, their respective attribute values and the class labels have been considered, then I'll stop. Else, if I find a leaf node, then also I'll stop training my decision tree. That's what. Although these conditions are insufficient, that means all training instances, all attribute value pairs can't be considered. There are reasons to stop expanding a node much earlier, even if the leaf node contains training instances for more than one class. That's what. The leaf node itself will become the termination condition. This process is called as early termination, and the condition is used to determine when a node should be stopped from expanding is called a stopping criteria. Next, we'll look at the advantages of your decision tree based classification or your Hunt's algorithm. It is inexpensive to construct. Why? Because there are only two steps. If I find all the class labels having unique class label as yes or no, that itself will be my leaf node. So it is inexpensive. There are no more design criteria. And obviously when there are no more design criteria, it is very extremely fast in classifying unknown records, and it will be easily to interpret because the decision tree will be small. It will be easily to interpret for any given domain expert. And as a general criteria of your classification model, it is okay for noisy data. If there are some missing values or redundant instances in your training data set, then also I'll be able to construct a decision tree. It can handle both continuous as well as symbolic attributes. Symbolic attributes are nothing but house owner, yes or no, whether it's marital status of a person, whether it's single, divorced or married. So discrete attributes. And taxable income, the salary of a person will be in numerical values, real valued numbers, which I call them as attributes of continuous or categorical. For all these instances, decision tree is applicable, and accuracy is comparable to other classification techniques for many simple data sets. That means if the data set is simple, that means number of instances are less, number of attributes are less, and the data is not complex, then the accuracy of the decision tree based method is good when compared to other classification models. In continuation to these advantages, we have some more, and it gives decent or average accuracy with respect to the performance when compared to larger data set size. It can handle multimodal class distributions also, as discussed with respect to this data set. Fine. The number of class labels are 2, that means binary. So my Hunt's algorithm is suitable for binary or else multimodal. That means multimodal means there are more than 2 class labels. Result of a student, pass, fail, it's a binary classification. pass, fail, withheld, malpractice, absent. They're all example for multi-model class distributions. And your decision tree using Hunt's algorithm is a standard wherein the decision tree can be compared with cross validation techniques. What is cross validation? We'll be dealing it in your module 4 with respect to classification as well as clustering with respect to model evaluation. And your decision tree does not need any distance functions. Distance functions in case of your data similarity and dissimilarity, we have discussed about Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, Minkowski's distance. All those distance functions are not necessary for your decision tree. Basically the ranking, the nominal values 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 or rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 can be used to represent your decision tree. Next, there are some disadvantages of your decision tree based classification wherein your decision tree will rely on rectangular approximation that might not be good for some data set. What is rectangular approximation? You know what's a rectangular, right? Again, it will have lower bound, upper bound, it will have the median values. It will take the maximum and minimum values or the extreme values to differentiate the attributes in a data set. That is the major drawback. It will consider either the minimum values or the maximum values. That is the drawback. And selecting good learning algorithm parameters, the degree of pruning, which nodes to be removed, is very non-trivial because constructing a decision tree is trial and error method, a brute force method, a heuristic approach where we keep on trying to see which is the optimal tree possible. So selecting a good learning algorithm becomes difficult. And ensemble techniques such as support vector machines and sometimes k-nearest neighbor algorithms, your neural network might obtain higher accuracies for specific data set. As we have discussed the advantage, fine, your decision tree is suitable for small data sets. If the data set is larger, n number of instances, n number of attributes, and it has complex data set, then decision tree is not suitable, and your support vector machines, neural networks and KNN algorithms are more suitable. Fine. Next, we'll look at the methods for expressing test attribute condition. We shall just recall, we use the term test attribute condition in your step 2 of your Hunt's algorithm for your decision tree construction, wherein in the first step, if I find all unique class labels in my decision tree, that will be the leaf node, and unfortunately it is not possible. Your class labels will have more number of positive instances or less number of negative instances, or vice versa, or the optimal condition equal number of positive instances and equal number of negative instances. In such cases, I am supposed to split my decision tree, and how to split is the topic. Methods for expressing the test attribute condition. And again, before splitting the test attribute condition, we'll just recall what are the types of attributes available. Binary attributes, yes, home owner is a example for binary attribute because it is taking only two values, yes and no. We have marital status, single, married and diverse, three values. It is discrete as well as it is ordinal. I can organize them into single, next married, after married a person might be diverse. So that is the ordering. That will be an example for ordinal attributes. Then I have annual income of a person, the salary of a person, real numbers, which are continuous valued attributes. So defaulted borrower, again it's a binary classification. These are just the attributes to recall, and these attributes can be split, hence the topic methods for expressing the test attribute condition. So your decision tree induction algorithm will provide a method for expressing a test attribute condition based on the attribute types, and these are the 4 attribute types. So in this slide you can look at, we have 3 different diagrams. The very first one is the binary attribute, wherein I take the attribute as body temperature. All these diagrams have been represented with respect to various data sets. Say for example, body temperature. In the very first video lecture of your module 4 classification, we took a data set with respect to vertebrate classification. One of the attribute was body temperature, and it took the values warm blooded, cold blooded, or I can take temperature of on a given day. It might be hot or cold. Wind strength, it might be weak or strong. So it is taking 2 values. This is an example for binary attribute. Multi-way splitting of a binary attribute or a nominal attribute. In the previous case study, we have taken marital status. It is taking 3 values: single, diverse, married. This is multi-way split. The same nominal attributes can be binary split as well as groupingly can be split. Say for example, marital status, married person is one, there might be a single person, divorced person. Single or divorced is once again one and the same, they are separate, fine. So I'll group them. Or I can group marital status as single and married divorced. A person will be divorced only if he is married after this stage, fine. So again I can represent single and married in one group, divorced in one group. So this is how I group the nominal attributes and split them for the test attribute condition. Next we have grouping ordinal attributes, and we have discussed the ordinal attributes are nothing but the attributes which give us just enough information, the ordering greater than or equal to. Now say for example, I'll take the shirt size of a human being, and the shirt size can be grouped into 4 categories: small, medium, large and extra large. The first type of splitting of your ordinal attributes, I can group small and medium into one group, large and extra large into other group. The second category, small into one group, medium, large and extra large into the other group. In the third category, I can group small and large in one, medium and extra large in the third category. But I can't go to the fourth category, wherein I can group small and extra large and make large and medium into the second category. I repeat, I can't go for the fourth type, the D category, wherein I can't group small and extra large in one set, large and medium. Why? Because small is the very first unit of partitioning your data, extra large is the last unit. So there is a very large difference between small and extra large. So huge difference between the ordering of the attributes, hence I can't group small and extra large. This is the way of splitting ordinal attributes. Then we have one more approach of grouping your continuous attributes, such as your salary of a person, which is a real valued example, annual income of a person greater than 80k, yes or no, that is the binary split. Or I can go for your set grouping, we have discussed this fine in your module 2, wherein annual income less than 10k will be in one group, 10k to 25k will be in one group, 25 to 50k in one group. Or you can take your CBCS grading system, fine, 91 to 100 S grade, 80 to 90 A grade, 71 to 80 B grade. That grading system is also an example for grouping continuous attributes as well as splitting continuous attributes. Next, we have seen in the previous 2 slides that what are the different attributes available for splitting. Now we have some measures for splitting, such as entropy, Gini index, classification error. Classification error is nothing but 1 minus accuracy. This we have already discussed. Gini index is also one of the method for finding the purity or impurity of a given node. Entropy is nothing but degree of success. That means the amount of information that a given node can hold. So entropy is defined as the summation starting from the first instance till the last instance multiplied by PA. That means the fraction of instances with respect to the total number of instances in your training data set multiplied by log of the same values. Gini index is again same, 1 minus summation of all the instances with respect to the probability of occurrence of a given event with respect to total number of events, square of that value will give the Gini index. Similarly, the classification error. So you can make a note of these formulas. We'll use these formulas in finding the test attribute condition and how to split the given attribute. So this is part of your second step of your ANDS algorithm, where I am supposed to select the test attribute condition by finding the best split. How to find the best split? Now before splitting, I have 2 classes, C0 and C1, and I have the respective nodes as N00 and N01 for C0 and C1 classes. That measure that I find, I'll call it as M0 or initial value M0, fine. And I assume that there are 2 ways of splitting a given node as A and B. A is split into 2 nodes, node 1, node 2, with respect to the attribute values as yes and no. Similarly, attribute values yes and no for B is split as N3 and N4. Now I'll try to find the measure for this, wherein I'll split the node N1 for C0, C1 as N10, C1 as N11. Similarly, with respect to node 2, I'll split it as N20, N21. Similarly, for node 3 as N30, N31 for C0 and C1 class. Similarly, for N4 as n40 and n41. Next, whatever measure I get by applying Gini index or entropy or classification error for these nodes respectively, I'll denote it as M1, M2, M3 and M4. So which is the best split? I'm supposed to find it by combining M1 and M2, I'll get M12. By combining M3 and M4, I'll get M34. Now I'll subtract this M12 in M0 first part, I'll subtract M34 in M0, I'll get the second value, that will be the second part, and I'll find the which value is the best one. That's what I've done. I'm calculating gain by subtracting M12 in M0. That's what I have done. M12 I am subtracting in M0. Similarly, M34 I am subtracting in M04 and I am getting value. So I'll get the value for A and B split. So whichever value is less, that will be the best split. Say for example, A has the gain value as 0.3, B as 0.4. 0.3 is less. That means a low value of information gain indicates the node is purer. If there is high value of information gain or Gini index or entropy, that indicates that the node is impure. So this concept will be used for splitting the nodes. We'll see an example how to measure the impurity using Gini index. We have given the formula for Gini index, entropy as well as misclassification error in your previous previous slide, and I've taken examples where I've split nodes C1, C2, C1, C2 into different combinations and I've found the Gini index value. We'll see how to find it. How to find the Gini index? 1 minus summation of P divided by first instance divided by second instance. That means class 1 divided by class 0. How will I find PC of 1? 0 by 6, or I'll directly apply this Gini index formula. Fine. 1 minus 0 by 6 whole square minus 6 by 6 whole square. That is what I've done here. I'll get the value of 0. Similarly, Gini index for 1 and 5, 1 minus total number of instances. Fine. 0 plus is 6. 0 plus 6 is 6. 1 plus 5 is 6. 2 plus 4 is 6. That is what I will be doing here. Gini index 1 minus 1 divided by first class is 1, second 1 plus 5 is 6, so 1 divided by 6 minus second class number of instances are 5, total number of instances 6. That's what I have done. 1 minus 1 divided by 6 whole square minus 5 divided by 6 whole square. Similarly, for the third example, Gini index 1 minus number of instances for class 1 is 2. I have written 2 here. Total number of instances combining class 1 and class 2, 2 plus 4 is 6. 1 minus 2 by 6 whole square minus class 2 has how many instances? 4. 4 divided by total number of instances combining C1 and C2. 2 plus 4 is 6. So 4 divided by 6 whole square, I have find 0.44. So the first split, the Gini index is 0. Second, it is 0.278. Third, it is 0.44. So which is having least value? 0. That means this is the purer node for splitting the test attribute condition. So same thing I have done, wherein I have calculated Gini index, entropy, error for different combinations. We'll see an example here. How to find Gini index? We just saw 1 minus 0 divided by total number of instances is 6 minus second class is 6, total number of instances is 6 whole square is 0. Entropy minus 0 divided by 6 because total number of 6 classes are 6, log base 2 to 0 by 6 minus 6 by 6, total number of instances in class 1 is 6, total combining 0 and 1 is 6. I've got the same thing. Error, classification error, 1 minus max of 0 by 6 comma 6 by 6. So 0 by 6 is 0, 6 by 6 is 1, max of 0 comma 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. Similarly for node 2, node 3 I have replicated. You kindly practice this, because once this video session completes, I will be sharing some assignment problems wherein you are supposed to find Gini index, entropy value as well as error values for 2 or 3 examples. We'll solve one more example after this slide. So we'll submit this as the assignment. So same thing I have repeated here, how to find the best split. So that is what I have done. I am repeating the slide once again. I have split and I'll find the gain value between two splits. Whichever is having the least value, that node will be selected for splitting. We'll take an example here with respect to a complex one. splitting with respect to two partitions. The parent node has two classes C1 and C2 and it has equal number of instances 6. So obviously the Gini index will be 0.5. Why? Because Gini index is calculated by using the formula we have seen, 1 minus the same thing, fine. So it has number of 6 classes. So if I find the Gini index value, it will be equal to 0.5. 1 minus 6 divided by 6 whole square minus 6 divided by 6 whole square. So 0.5, 0.5, if you subtract from 1, you will get again 0.5. That is what I've got. Now I have split this two attribute conditions A and B into two values, node 1 and node 2. And again these node 1 and node 2 with respect to two classes have some instances divided as 4 and 3, 2 and 3, and I'm supposed to find the Gini index value. If it was for the single instance n1, the same way how we have solved for the previous example, where when we have found Gini index, entropy as well as misclassification, error rate, you are supposed to repeat the same process. But now I have divided the instances into two partitions, and I have two partitions. I have again two nodes n1 and n2. So my objective is to find the weighted Gini index. How to find weighted Gini index? We'll see the process. First I'll find the weighted Gini index for the split A. I'll take node 1. Gini index is 1 minus A divided by whole square, A divided by B whole square minus C by B, or that probability value 1 minus P of J divided by T whole square, fine. The same thing, 1 minus, for the first class number of instances are 4, for the second class number of instances are 3, total number of instances are 7. I repeat, for node 1 with respect to class 0 number of instances are 4, with respect to class 1 for node 1 number of instances are 3, total number of instances are 7. Similarly for node 2, C0 is 2, C1 is 3, total number of instances are 5. So remember these values, we will apply into Gini index formula. For node 1 I am calculating Gini index value 1 minus number of instances 4, fine. Total number of instances 4 plus 3 7, so 4 by 7 minus whole square minus second, I have 3 classes for C1, 3 divided by 7 whole square, I will get the value as 0.4899. So I repeat, 1 minus 4 divided by 4 plus 3 whole square minus 3 divided by 4 plus 3 whole square. That is what I have done. 1 minus 4 by 7 whole square minus 3 whole. Similarly repeat it for node 2. How will this happen? 1 minus 2 by 2 plus 3 is 5. So 1 minus 2 by 5 whole square minus number of instances for class 2 with respect to node 2 is 3. So 3, 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 divided by 5 whole square. That is what I have done here. 1 minus 2 by 5 whole square minus 3 by 5 whole square. I will get a value of 0.48. So these values 0.4899 and 0.48 are the individual Gini index values for node 1 and node 2 with respect to class 0 and class 1. My objective is to find weighted Gini index. How to find weighted Gini index? Now total number of classes for node 1 is 7, for node 2 it is 5. For the entire split, the total number of classes are 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. That means 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 plus 3 is 12. So how to find weighted Gini index? With respect to node 1, 4 plus 3 is 7. For both the classes it is 7. Yes, 7. Total number of instances for the entire split, it is 12. Yes, 7 by 12 into. For the first node, what is the Gini index value? 0.4899. Multiply that, 0.4889 plus. For the second node, total number of instances are 2 plus 3 is 5. I have written 5 here. Total number of instances for the entire split it is, after from the parent node, total number of instances are 6 plus 6, 12. So 5 by 12 into 0.48. So this is the method for, or the process for finding weighted Gini index for the first split. So similarly repeat the same steps for node B. For node B with respect to node 1, I have the values 5 and 2. So I'll find the values, repeat the same process, find the weighted Gini index. You will find the value as 0.375, and for the first split I have 0.486. For the second instance the split value is 0.375. If I compare these two, fine. For the split B with respect to attribute B, the weighted Gini index value is less when compared to the first split of attribute A. Hence the second attribute will be chosen for splitting the tree but not the first one, because it is having lower Gini index value, and any attribute having lowest Gini index value or the information gain will be considered as purer node. That means there is less impurity. Higher the value of weighted Gini index, more is the impurity value. So make a slight note of this here. This should be N1 and this should be N2, but the values are correct, fine. There is nothing wrong in it. Only just rename this as N2 and this as 1, 1. So we'll just define fine. So total number of instances with respect to C1, C0 and C1 for node 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. So 1 minus 5 by 7 whole square minus 2 by 7 whole square. That is what I've done. With respect to node 2, total number of instances are 5. 1 minus 1 by 4, sorry, total number of instances are 5. 1 plus 4 is 5, right? So 1 minus 1 by 5 whole square minus 4 by 5 whole square. That is what I've done. And I found the values to be 0.32, 0.46. So total number of instances, 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 6 plus 2 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 12. So that is what I've done. Total number of instances, 5 divided by 12 into 0.32, fine. Again this one, fine. 1 plus 4 is 5, 5 by 12. 5 plus 2 is 7, 7 by 12. 7 by 12 into 7 by 12 into 0.464, 7 by 5 by 12 into 0.32, I'll get a weighted Gini index as 0.375. Since this is having least value and compared to this is the purer node, and I will select this part of the tree to split the decision tree or the test attribute condition.